All right, everybody, welcome back to Ration Nerd. I am super excited to be here today. I've got a ration that I have never seen anybody review before. This is a 24-hour police ration from Mozambique. To my knowledge, I've not seen one of these on YouTube before, so this is definitely a first for the channel, maybe even a first for the ration review community. I just had to get right on this thing because I got it. I realized everything was here. Customs didn't rate me this time. And wow, this thing is a 2023 production. I have no clue what the expiration date is. It did say the date of production. It did not say the date of expiration. So this was produced in October of 2023. It is June of 2024. So I'm thinking everything in here should be just fine. Really looking forward to this. This box did take a little bit of abuse in shipping, so I'm crossing fingers that everything made it here. But before we get into the video, if you like what I'm doing here on the channel, do me a big favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, talk to me in the chat. It's always good to hear from you guys. Let me stop babbling, get into this Republic of Mozambique 24-hour police ration. I'm really looking forward to this. This is going to be a good time. So I'm going to slide that off to the side a little bit. I really want to keep this box intact because you know how I say I'm not sure when I'm ever going to get another one of these again. I am 100% sure that I have no clue if I will ever get a chance to get another one of these. So let's see. Here we go. All right. So let's get this out of the way. Look at that. A nice little pack of tissues. We'll crack into those and see what kind of tissues you get with a Mozambique ration. That's cool. And we have a cutlery set with a little napkin in there. That feels pretty chintzy. We'll get into it, see what it's all about. We have some pretty large and in charge bags of sugar. These feel like they're about 8 to 10 grams a piece. So that looks about like 30 grams of sugar. Not too shabby. We have a content sheet. Looks like we have a Gymnipsa product here, a lemon flavor isotonic drink. Not too shabby. What is this? What is this? What is this? This is 2 packs of instant coffee. That's absolutely amazing. I wonder if we get cream. Cream would be freaking fabulous. Oh my God. What is that? Oh my God, this is 2 20-gram packs of condensed milk. That is awesome. Leche condensada. I'm all aboard. Got a little picture of a moo cow on there. That is the best. That ought to make some pretty banging coffee. Oh my goodness. I'm excited. What do we have here? This is 2 packs of Ciruela, or however you say that, Ciruela, jam, but if you look at the ingredients, this looks like a plum jam because that is the first ingredient listed on these. So it looks like we have 2 packs of plum jam. Absolutely looking forward to that. I like plums. Plum jam sounds amazing. We have 2 more packs of what looks like a fruit cream here. Ah, look at that. Right on the package, we have an apple fruit cream. That's awesome. And then I thought this was a pear jam, but this is actually a quince cream. So that's awesome. I've had quince cream in other rations. I am absolutely looking forward to this. Way more than the apple, but that is what it is. And then we have a condom. So I guess in Mozambique they're worried about the popo catching some herpes or something, and that's cool. Nobody likes herpes or any other STD, so you can't tell me this is for water collection. I guess the police in Mozambique are kind of promiscuous, and that's cool. Because you're not giving out a whole box like this and giving me a condom to collect water, so that's exactly what this is for, the lack of STDs, which I can kind of appreciate. Nobody wants their popo to have STDs, so that's awesome. We're not even going to get this out onto a tray. We are totally going to keep this as a keepsake. This is my Mozambique Jimmy hat, so we're just going to set that right up there so we can always see our Mozambique Jimmy hat chilling out on the ration table. That's absolutely awesome. What do we have here? Check that out. We have a can of rice. That's awesome. I've never had canned rice before, But that's pretty cool. What a neat side item. A can of rice. I hope that's good. That'll be really cool. Now, we have some different biscuits here. We have 2 packs of what look like salted biscuits. So that's cool, kind of like a savory biscuit. Of course, we got a lot of jam for savory biscuits, but we'll take control of it. We have some tostadas, which are awesome. These should be a semi-sweet biscuit. That's awesome. We're definitely going to check that out. We got 2 packs of these guys. Awesome sauce. Looks like we have another pack of salted biscuits. That's banging. And we have a small can of tuna in a box. Not too shabby. We'll check that out. I'm not really a seafood fan, but I'm totally not complaining. It could be awesome. Hopefully this is packed in oil. That would be awesome if it was, because tuna packed in oil is way better than packed in water. We have a definitely dented can right here. Alright, so provided this can survive the shipping process, we have poultry, sausages, and rice. So that is a can of poultry, sausage, and rice. That's very interesting. That's definitely going to be a main. We have another can here. And this is beef stew, so that's definitely going to be another one of the mains. That's interesting. Definitely took some damage. I'm not seeing any bulging or anything, so I'm not too concerned about it. We'll definitely inspect it before we get into it. Beef stew. Wow, we have a whole bunch of water purification tablets, so each one of these is going to be good for 1 liter of water. So you can filter 4 liters of water with these. That's pretty awesome. Water purification tablets are always an important item. We have a pack of matches, not too shabby. Nice brown tips. Maybe not the craziest match ever, but you know what? Totally worked. And we have a pack of Esbit tablets, which oddly enough do not smell like fish. That's amazing. I did not get any fish smell when I opened this box. So these look like the same hexamine tablets that always smell like fish, but obviously they're a different brand. But that is cool that it didn't stank up my box with the fish smell. What is this? This is awesome. This is a little juice box of peach puree. That is really cool. 200 milliliters of peach puree. That is awesome. That is really absolutely cool. We have a package of salt and pepper. We have 2 pieces of gum, Kletz White. We have another package of salt and pepper. Awesome. We have a trash bag. Okay, so that's a bag for compost. So anything in here that's biodegradable, I guess you put it in your little bag and drop it off at the recycle center. But that is actually pretty neat. We have some hand sanitizer. That's pretty cool. And we have an unwrapped Esbit stove. This reminds me of the Spanish ration stove, so that's pretty cool. This is a pretty neat 24-hour ration. I'm going to get some items out onto a tray for breakfast. We're going to have some Mozambique breakfast together. Not exactly sure what I'm going to have. I have a pretty good idea what is definitely going to be had for breakfast, though. Without any doubt, what's going to be had for breakfast. At any rate, I will be right back with some Mozambique breakfast out on a tray. Super excited about this, guys. Be right back. All right, well, we've got breakfast out onto a tray. I'm going to give some of these salty biscuits a try. We're going to get that tuna out of the way nice and early in the day, get a good protein boost. We've got some tostadas. We've got 2 different types of jam here, the plum and the apple. I'm definitely saving that quince for later. And we've got coffee, without a doubt. The only way to start your day. I'm really hoping this coffee is good. So, with that said, we're going to go all out. We're going to jazz that up with some sugar. I might be over sugaring the crap out of this coffee, but I really don't care. I want a nice, sweet cup of coffee. If this coffee is nice and dark and rich and amazing, that'll be awesome. That is a very dark coffee right there. Smells nice. Oh, I'm so looking forward to trying some Mozambique coffee. I will add this sweetened condensed after we get the coffee brewing. Yes, coffee time. Oh, look how nice and dark that looks. Yes. There we go. Oh, that still looks dark. That's amazeballs. Absolutely amazeballs. Oh, that's smells good too. I'm really hoping it looks good and it smells good. I'm hoping it tastes good. That'll be amazing, because that's what you need first thing in a day is a nice cup of coffee. If you're not drinking coffee in the morning, you know what Ration Nerd says. Fix yourself. Fix yourself. So let's check out some of this. I guess I didn't even try to see if this was I didn't even try to see if this was still edible before I just decided to dump it in my coffee. Let's give that a little taste. That is nice and sweet. It's weird. It's not nearly as sweet as sweetened condensed here in the US or even in the European rations and Australian rations. It is definitely sweet, but it's not whatever. I'm just going for the whole thing. We're going for super sweet and crazy creamy this morning. That is absolutely where it's at. Look at that big old glob of sweetened condensed going in there. Yes. Yes, maybe I should have saved that for some biscuits, but nah. Alright, let's check out this silverware. I'm not real hopeful in this stuff being high quality. It felt pretty chintzy, but I guess it beats a blank, and we always have silverware from other nations in reserve. This is very reminiscent of Russian silverware, so that's kind of crappy, but it is what it is. Let me get this coffee stirred up, that nice thick milk in the bottom. Oh yeah. And before we get a little sip of this coffee, I know that not everybody's a geography expert, so let's go over where exactly is Mozambique. That might be some helpful information. So Mozambique is located in the southeastern part of the African continent. It shares borders with Tanzania, and Zambia is also close to Zimbabwe. So if you know where any of those other places are, just for your edification, to be quite honest with you, I wasn't 100% sure where Mozambique was. I knew it was in Africa, but I really didn't know exactly where it was. So that was Google info right there. So before we do anything else, we are absolutely going to have to get a taste of coffee from Mozambique. It smells amazing. Sweetened condensed milk tasted amazing. Whole bunch of sugar went into this. Let's get a taste of coffee from Mozambique. I'm hoping it's got a flavor that's absolutely unique. Yeah, I know, quit singing, but I just can't. I can't, because I'm pretty excited about this. It's coffee time. Oh, yes. Oh, that right there. That is a nice, strong cup of coffee. Nice, deep, rich, nutty flavor. Ever so mildly acidic, which I happen to enjoy, so don't take that as a negative, because it's totally not. I like my coffee to have a little bit of bite. Even with all that sugar and sweet and condensed in there, you'd figure you almost wouldn't taste the coffee anymore. That is not the case. I'm really surprised, but that is an excellent cup of coffee. This is amazing. This is really good. Oh my. All right, let's check out this tuna. I kind of like when they put these small cans of tuna inside of the box. It definitely keeps them from getting beat up, so that's pretty cool. Really hoping this is packed in oil. That'd be amazing. It does look like it's packed in oil, so that's a positive. Let's get, oh. This is definitely like a finely minced tuna. Ooh. So I'm not sure what the quality is going to be on this stuff. That doesn't bode well for the quality of this tuna, but not exactly the most attractive tuna. Let me get a sniff of that. What does that smell like? Oh, that's super fishy. Ooh. I'm just going to get a taste of this by itself. You know what? I'm going to see what I'm getting into before I put it on a cracker. That is absolutely not the highest quality tuna that I've had, but it's not the lowest quality either. It's somewhere right in the middle. It's a little fishier than I would normally like, but the oil helps cut that down. That's pretty awesome. In fact, I think that could really benefit from a little bit of salt and pepper. I know that sounds weird because tuna is normally salty, but this tuna is not very salty, which is nice. Let's get a pack of these salted biscuits out onto the tray. I'd almost rather them be plain than salted, because if they're plain, they pretty much go with anything, but we will check these out. I'm going to have to get a little bite of one of these on its own, just to see what it's like. And I'll tell you what, these biscuits say they're salted, but they're not salty at all. It's very plain. So I got my wish. at least with this pack, they're very plain. Not bad at all. A little on the stale side, which does make sense. Mozambique's kind of hot. This packaging's not the best, but they're not rancid. They're just a little stale, which is completely fine, and they're not salty, meaning they'll go good with any of the jams or pretty much any meal. That's very convenient. So let's see if we can get a little bit of this tuna up on one of these biscuits and give that a go. Not a big fan of this being minced. It's kind of hard to tell what exactly is in here other than tuna, but the salt and pepper really helped that tuna and made it taste a whole lot better. That salted biscuit with this tuna really helps cut down the fishy flavor. Between the fact that it's packed in oil, the salted biscuits, and the salt and pepper, this is actually an enjoyable breakfast item. And I'm not a big tuna fan. It really does work out well. I'm really happy that they packed this tuna in oil. It's going to make it a whole lot more fun, a whole lot easier to get this down for breakfast. Oddly enough, not being a breakfast person, period, and really not being a seafood guy, this is a pretty awesome breakfast item. That's not too shabby. I know with all this jam, I'm going to need to get this other pack out onto the tray. If I don't use them all, that's all right. I can save them for dinner. While I'm munching away, we'll get these tostadas out here. These made it intact. That was nice. Check those guys out. Let's give one of those tostadas a little bite. These look just like the ones that come in Spanish rations. And oddly enough, they look just like the ones that come in Spanish rations, but they're not. These are very soft. I'm not sure if that has anything to do with them being stale, but I'm going to tell you what. That's an interesting little biscuit. Very mildly sweet. It almost has the same flavor as the tostadas that are in the Spanish rations, but this is very soft. Not any crunch to it whatsoever. Very soft biscuit. I'll be very interested to see what these taste like with the jam. But I'll tell you what, these being soft is a really neat treat. I'll tell you what, that's a pretty savory breakfast item. Even not being a seafood guy, if I ate breakfast on a regular, that would be an awesome breakfast item. That's really not bad at all. Let's check out this napkin. Really not much in the way of a clean yourself up department. This is a pretty thin, standard napkin. Not the most hateful that I've seen, at least it has some size to it, but it is very thin. Definitely would be very terrible. We're going to get both of these opened up. I really hope these survived any heat stress they were under. These look like they're packed by the same company that packs the Spanish quince creams that I've had in Spanish rations, and that's always really good. And again, just like the Spanish rations, that opening tab did not work at all, so we are going to stab ourselves in the hand. I mean, open this with a knife. Stabbing myself in the hand was always definitely a possibility. That looks pretty amazing. Anyway, we'll get this plum jam opened up. Wonder if this one will actually open normally. That'd be great, because it really is just a law of averages before I stab myself in the hand while I'm making a video. And I'll be honest with you, if I stab myself in the hand, I'm just going to leave it in the video, because why not? I mean, I don't have a whole lot of shame, obviously, because, well, here I am doing this. So if I stab myself in the hand, we'll share that together. We'll bleed together a little bit. This is obviously going to need to be opened up with a knife because it's just not cooperating, which in its own way is kind of a good thing, because these things are really sealed well. So I would imagine that them being sealed so well and so tightly bodes well for the jam surviving the journey, not leaking all over the inside of your ration container. And considering this thing took some damage in transit, I can certainly appreciate these really well wrapped jams, except for when I'm trying to get them open. All right, so let's get two different ones going on here. We're going to try the apple. I love these jams that they call creams. I'm not 100% sure what the difference is, but man, these things are really good. I can't wait to get into that quince cream. I already know that's going to be rocking. So we got one of the apple, and we'll get the plum. This is definitely a jam and not a cream, but that is quite okay by me. I absolutely love plums. So that said, I am going to give this plum jam a try first. It's definitely a lot more watery than the cream, but it is definitely good looking. Oh my god, that is so good. That is extremely sweet. It tastes like plums. Very natural flavor. Not overly sweet, which is excellent because it really allows you to get a taste of the fruit. Let's move on to this apple. Take a look at that. It kind of reminds you of the Russian apple jam, but thankfully is not. That is amazing as well. Oh my god. I thought the Russian apple jam was good. This beats the Russian apple jam hands down. It's not nearly as sweet. Has a much more natural apple flavor. That's amazing. It has a tiny little taste of vitamin C right at the end. I mean, almost imperceptible. Very mild. It's a little bit grainy, but not grainy with sugar. Actually grainy with fruit pulp. That is a really good quality apple cream. That's great. Like this is absolutely my favorite part of breakfast. The tuna was okay, but this jam and this apple cream are off the hook. Oh my god. When you combine this super soft tostada with the jam, it literally tastes like a fruit cookie. The weird thing about the salted biscuits, because they're stale, the tuna completely masked the stale flavor of those salted biscuits. The jam does not. You can actually taste the fact that they're stale when you put the jam on them. But these tostadas, whether they are stale or whether these were intended to be soft, are absolutely amazing with this jam. It's literally like a soft fruit cookie. These are just crazy amazing. Oh, that apple is no different. If these are stale, I'm really glad they are, because that is literally like having apple cookies for breakfast. That's crazy. You can make a fruit-topped, in-the-field cookie literally right here in a Mozambique ration. Good God almighty, is that coffee good. Speaking of that coffee, because of the canned items, this ration was pretty heavy. Literally just as heavy as the Russian 24-hour ration. The canned items are what's making it heavy. But I'm in, like completely in. Give me the canned items. Give me more of this. I'm really glad there's another pack of these tostadas. That's going to be awesome. All right, guys. Well, I do have some salted biscuits left over. We'll definitely save those for lunch and or dinner. We're all out of cream and jam, which is, well, it's a total bummer. But I'll tell you what, this was a great breakfast. Tuna, biscuits and jam. Literally like field-made cookies. This has been pretty awesome. I'm pretty damn excited. This coffee is amazeballs. I'm going to finish up this cracker with apple cream. This has been an amazing start to our ration review so far. I'm super jazzed. Mozambique Popo ration for the win. I'll see you guys at lunchtime. I still can't believe there's a rubber in the ration. Good God. Welcome back to lunch, everyone. I'm pretty excited for lunch. Breakfast was pretty awesome. Kind of simple, but pretty awesome. So what we're going to get into for lunch here is we are going to have this chicken sausage and rice. We are going to give this peach puree a try. We're going to have a pack of tostadas with our plum jam. We're going to finish up the rest of these salted biscuits to go with that. And we are also going to have our second cup of coffee. I just can't resist. So since I'm going to be heating up the main here momentarily, we're going to go ahead and mix up this really excellent coffee, because I'm telling you what, that breakfast coffee was absolutely amazing. I think what I'm going to do is I'm not going to use as much sweetened condensed milk, because there was so much sweetened condensed milk in the morning coffee that it was just kind of chunky in the bottom. Let me get some hot water in this coffee before I just go chunking the sweetened condensed in there. It's lunchtime, coffee time, because every time of the day is coffee time. I know you'd be sad if I didn't sing it, so I just went ahead and sung it. We're going to put a substantial amount of that sweetened condensed in there. One thing I really, really enjoy about this coffee is that it is a nice, strong roast, so you can get a really good 8 to 10 ounce cup of coffee with just one pack, and that's pretty amazeballs. Especially considering some of the other ration coffee I've had, this is pretty top notch. I hate to say it, but this is probably the best ration coffee I've had. Now, that could definitely be the fact that there's sweetened condensed involved. This is better than the French coffee, and that's pretty much like the gold standard of freeze-dried coffee in a ration. French coffee is absolutely amazing. This coffee from Mozambique is just a little better, and that's probably because of the sweetened condensed milk, but you know what? It's in the ration, so it counts. The coffee by itself is amazing, and then you put sweetened condensed in there with it, it's double amazing. And it just wouldn't be me if I didn't make a mess on the table, but we are going to get a little sip of this coffee. I can't give you the whole breakfast time spiel because, well, it's lunchtime. That is so good. A little less sweet than breakfast coffee because I put maybe 2/3 of the sweetened condensed in there. Now that I've made a mess, it's probably a great time to check out one of these tissues. And this is a pretty standard tissue. Not super rough, not super soft. Definitely wipe your butt or your face with those. That's pretty amazing. Certainly makes up for the fact that there was kind of a crappy napkin with the crappy silverware. Now that coffee's made and I have something to sip on while I'm heating this main up, it is time to get this main going. I'm going to crack the lid on this thing, give it a sniff check, give it a little look, hope and pray, crossing fingers. Now that can did just take in a bunch of air, so there was an intake of air, not an exhalation of nasty. So let me get a little sniff of that. And that smells absolutely fine. I know there are some food poisonings that you just can't smell, but I don't smell anything wrong with this. No odd looking things in the can, which is nice. How's that look? Not too shabby. A little basic, but not too shabby. Gonna have to make a little platform for this Esbit stove. This is gonna be a pretty nice balancing act, but we're gonna give it a go anyway. Well, there's that fish smell. The fish smell in these is just nowhere near as pronounced as other rations that I've had, which is great. I'd really rather not have stanky fish tablets, especially if they ruin the smell of the ration before you even get to open the box. And we will attempt to use the included matches, even though they weren't all that fabulous. We will see if we can get these fuel tablets going. I did have somebody recently leave me a comment about how toxic these things are, and that was really cool of you. I really appreciate you leaving me that comment. But just so you know, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. I'm fully aware of how toxic these things are, and I actually installed an exhaust fan that pulls all this nastiness out, so no worries about Ration Nerd kicking the bucket anytime soon. But you never know, one of these rations could take me out any day now. So that looks like we have some fuel tablets on fire. That is good. And we are going to attempt to not spill the main all over the table, but anything is absolutely possible here on Ration Nerd. That looks really unstable. We're just going to have to do our best not to pour molten hot chicken sausage, which, to be fair, that just looks like a chicken hot dog to me, but who's judging, you know? Chicken hot dog, whatever. And for the record, yes, I am completely aware that I bent the Esbit stove a little wonky because I wanted to sit it down on the top of this mess tin, so that way it would sit a little flatter on there. We'll see if that works. If not, I've got more Esbit stoves. No big deal. That is going to be a ton of fun not to spill all over the table. So while that main is doing its thing, I'm going to get these tostadas unwrapped. I'll be right back as soon as this is nice and piping hot. Well, as you can see, this main is nice and hot. We're going to get that bad boy out onto the tray. That is pretty soupy. It's pretty much just like one whole hot dog, rice, and sauce. I don't want to judge it yet, at least not until I've actually had a bite of it. It certainly heated up in this mess kit really well, really fast. So hot that it was actually burning the spoon, as you can see. We melted the corner of the spoon quite a bit. That's not very nice. So I tell you what, I'm going to grab a fork and cut me a little chunk of hot dog. And that is extraordinarily soft. So that is literally just like cutting into a Vienna sausage, which, if you watched my last Russian Mountain review, you know I'm not a big fan of Vienna sausages. So I'm really hoping that this does not taste like a Vienna sausage, but it certainly has the texture of one. Let me just try a bite of this hot dog. That's pretty much what it looks like. Let's call it a sausage. It's a sausage. Let's try a bite of this sausage. A little bit of sausage, a little bit of rice. You know what? I'm begging to wear that. What am I doing? Like, I'm using a fork to eat something soupy. That's totally my style right there. And this spoon is hurting, which is why I was going to use the fork. So we're just going to have to bring in some help. We're going to have to put this Canadian spoon to work because that thin little thing over there is just going to slice my lips open, especially now that I bent like a nice little curve on it. So let's try this chicken sausage and rice. Get a little peek of that. Oh, nice and hot on my hand. I will say the tomato sauce and the rice has a really nice flavor to it. The chicken sausage is very mild. It's almost barely there. And I suppose that's better than it having a really artificial nasty flavor. It's just kind of hot and spongy, but it doesn't really add any appreciable flavor to this particular dish. So I guess maybe it's just there for the protein content. But it certainly is a piece of processed sausage. A little disappointing, but the sauce and the rice is actually pretty darn good. It's certainly a lot more like soup than it is anything else. I'll tell you what, this is pretty mildly flavored. So we're going to add a little salt and pepper. See if we can't bring some of the flavors out in this thing. That's some pretty large pepper chunks. I was expecting something a little bit more finely ground. Not so much. Big old pepper flakes in there. All right, let's try that salted and peppered. Get a little bit of everybody in one big bite here. And that's definitely better with the salt and pepper. I would say this is more like a tomato rice soup, a really thick tomato rice soup. The sausage itself just really doesn't add anything to this main. It's just kind of there. It tastes like everything else, which I'm glad it doesn't taste overly processed or nasty. It's just not really adding anything to this main, which is a real bummer, kind of a disappointment. I just can't be trusted when I'm eating. Like, I just got tomato rice soup stuff all over me. That's super typical for me. I do have to say, the more of this that I eat, the more I enjoy it. I'm not a real big soup fan, and that's kind of like what this is. But this being tomato based and adding that salt and pepper, that pepper's really hot. That pepper is actually really spicy just for being a small pack of pepper. It actually adds a lot of heat to this that wasn't there before. Really brings a different level of flavor to it, which is really excellent. I mean, the more of this I stuff in my face hole, the better and better it gets. This is really comfort food. The sausage could be better, and there certainly could be more of it. There was very little sausage to be had in this thing, roughly about the size of, one American hot dog. But there is certainly something to be said for this dish just being a good, hearty meal, not being odd tasting in any way, and with the addition of a little salt and pepper, really brought some depth of flavor out in this that it needed right in the beginning. This certainly is kind of a stick-to-your-ribs kind of meal. I would imagine that if this is the type of dish they serve in Mozambique on any kind of regular basis, this is probably just like some home-cooked style food. If you're lucky enough to get your hands on one of these rations and you happen to capture this menu, definitely put the salt and pepper in there, get it nice and hot, and just enjoy it. This stuff is actually really good. Like, police are eating well for lunch in Mozambique. This is pretty awesome. My only complaint is that I'm wearing a substantial portion of it on my shirt, but that has nothing to do with the ration and everything to do with me, so I cannot blame Mozambique, nor this particular dish, for messing up my shirt. That's on me. See, napkin, shirt, really, seriously, it's pretty bad. So I guess I really should smash up one of these crackers and use up the rest of that sauce. This main just kind of grew on me. The more I ate of it, the more and more I liked it. That's pretty amazing. Like, I really had absolutely zero clue what to expect from this ration. I'm not super worldly in the fact that I'm going to sit here and try to tell you that I know a lot about Mozambique, because I do not. Most of what I know about Mozambique, I just read on Google recently before doing this ration review. I probably should have done this right from the beginning, and I might not have warned so much of this, but, it is what it is. I need a bib. That's what. If anybody has a bib out there, if you could send me a bib, that'd be awesome. That sauce completely deletes any stale flavor in those crackers. That's great. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I was not really excited about that main. When I got it out onto the tray, I was just feeling kind of ho-hum about it. That turned out to be really excellent. Kind of just like home-cooked, good mood food. That was totally it. So we've got to get a taste of this peach puree. Try to give it a little shake here. Have me a little juice box. That's amazing. I haven't had a juice box in I don't know how long, so this feels weird and excellent all at the same time. Oh, that is absolutely amazing. Hang on. We've got to see this together. This juice box is doing that peach puree absolutely no justice. That has an amazing fruit flavor. Absolutely, obviously tastes like peaches. But there's a lot of things that taste like fruit that don't necessarily taste like real fruit. And this certainly tastes like real fruit. I got to get a look at it to see what the actual juice itself looks like. That is amazing. That is just pure peaches, smashed up. There's even a little bit of granulated fruit matter. I don't know if you can see it, but just sticking to the side of the glass here, that's awesome. Oh, I'm glad I got that out into a glass. It's so much better not sucking through that tiny little straw. That's absolutely amazing. That's great. So, since we have some sweetened condensed left, I definitely want to try one of these nice soft tostadas with a little sweetened condensed. That's only right. And I want to get a tostada with just a little sweetened condensed on there. And then we're going to stack that one with some jam as well. Because you just don't get plum jam like this here in the US unless it's sitting around somewhere I'm completely unaware of. And that's possible unless it's sitting on somebody's grandmother's shelf somewhere. And if that's the case, hey, cough up some of Grandma's jam. Stop bogarting it all, would you? So let's give that a try. Little plum jam with sweetened condensed. I'm just going to call this ahead of time. This is going to be an amazing bite. Without a doubt. That was just like a sweet, creamy, plum-flavored cookie. That was amazing. I'm just going to get this by itself. I'm just going to call this one ahead of time. This is going to be amazing. This is a nice, soft tostada biscuit with sweetened condensed milk on it. What's not to love about this thing? Well, everybody, this was lunch. Lunch was actually pretty amazing. Without any doubt, I am going to finish that coffee because it's amazing. That peach puree is going to last about 2 seconds after I shut the camera off. These biscuits are definitely going in my face hole. I might even munch on these guys, even though I didn't find too much of a purpose for them in this particular lunch. Or maybe I'll carry them over to dinner. I'm not 100% sure yet. If you see a couple of extra biscuits floating around on the tray at dinner time, you'll know what happened. This has been an amazing ration so far. I'm really looking forward to dinner, although I'm totally not ready for it yet. So I will see you guys back here in a few hours for Mozambique dinner. Welcome back to dinner, everybody. So we've got dinner out on the tray here. We have the rice, the beef stew. We have some more of those biscuits. We have the quince cream, which I'm absolutely looking forward to. Have a leftover pack of sugar. Not really sure what I'm doing with that guy, but it's here. We have that lemon isotonic beverage we're going to get into, and that is pretty much it. We still have some hand sanitizer, some gum, stuff like that, but we're going to get cracking on heating up this main. So I am going to borrow an Esbit tablet from another ration since I have so many left over, just because I think I messed up and I should have used one fuel tablet on lunch and should have kept 2 for dinner. And I didn't do that, so I did bring in an extra Esbit tablet because I want to make sure I can give this thing a proper hearing and make sure it is nice and hot, especially considering I'm heating up the beef stew and the rice. I think it's only fair to have 2 tablets going. While those tablets are taking off, we're going to get everybody in the pan here ready to heat up. So there was no explosion on that rice, which is good. I have absolutely no clue what canned rice is going to be like. Never had it before. Smells like rice, so hopefully there's nothing wrong with that. Looks a little packed in there, but that's what I expected. And we have our dented beef stew. All right, give that a try. Now that certainly looks like a tomato-based beef stew. That ought to be kind of different. I'll tell you what, these lids just don't want to come off of there. It definitely smells like a tomato-based beef stew. Let's see what we got in there. You know what? That looks pretty healthy. I can't really complain about that. That's a pretty decent looking beef stew. Let's see if we can use this knife to kind of slice this rice up here. Get it out of this can. That's the hard part. I think getting it in the can might have been easier than getting it out. It's pretty decent looking rice. I hope it didn't turn mushy in the can. We'll find out once we get it all heated up here. No discoloration or anything like that, so that's pretty decent. It's kind of crazy having rice in a can. I'm so used to it either being freeze-dried or coming in a retort pouch. This is kind of neat. So really you only have to heat it. You don't have to cook it. I guess we'll see what the texture's like to see if that's a good thing or a bad thing. All right, check that out before we get it on the fire. Now, I did swap out Esbit stoves because this pan was really unsteady on that other Esbit stove. And I really did not want to have a mess on my hands because honestly, lunchtime, it was a little dicey, and I really don't want to pour molten hot food all over me. Well, it doesn't really smell like much. We'll get this drink mix made up. One thing I can say is this is pretty much chock full of vitamins. If you can zoom in on that, that's pretty cool. I don't know how well this spoon is going to hold up to heating another main, but I guess we're about to find out. This is definitely making a lot of noise over here. I really do like a good Esbit stove. I'm pretty sure adding this rice to the beef stew was the way to go. I hope I didn't make a critical ration error on that, but it just seemed pretty natural. We'll see once we get this big mess heated up right here. But it's looking pretty good sitting in this pan. Let's give that lemon drink a try. Wow, that is very tart. I guess I know why this additional pack of sugar is in here. Because it's very mildly sweet. And I'm telling you, that sugar in this lemon is going to be a welcome addition. Let's give that a shot with the added sugar. That's perfect. That tastes like lemonade. Maybe not like fresh lemonade, but close enough. It's a close enough analog to fresh lemonade that you would definitely be happy with that. If you like lemonade, that would be your drink. If you score one of these rations, save a pack of sugar for your lemon drink. That's a pro tip for you right there. Flameless ration heaters are great, but there's nothing like an Esbit stove and a decent mess kit to heat up your food. That works really well. I really have enjoyed this ration so far. This has been an awesome ration. Hasn't been anything completely beyond the pale, like nothing crazy, nothing to complain about, which is really excellent. Even the fact that most of the biscuits were stale in this ration, they're still very edible, which is awesome. Honestly, there could have been a few more biscuits in here and I would have been real happy about it. There's that epic tear notch for you that's just not going to work. All right, so I went off camera to get this quince cream opened up and to let this heat up without boring you guys to death watching my main get hot. Needless to say, that was the worst time I could have turned the camera off because I almost dropped this thing. It was pretty hysterical. I was chasing my Esbit stove around the table with my knife. It would have made for great footage, but in order to try to shorten the video a little bit and not just have you guys sit around and watch me cook food, I shut everything down. I really wish I would have got that hilarity on camera. That would have been great. But I didn't, so let's get this main out onto the tray. And one thing I can say is this is a lot of food. There might not be, or the way I ate the ration, there might not be a lot of items left over for dinner, but there sure is still a lot of food, especially considering the size of this main. Not even sure this is going to fit in the tray. It really doesn't fit in the tray. It's getting ready to spill over the sides, but we will survive. This is definitely looking pretty amazing, though. I'm going to get right in here for a bite, but as you know, we have rice, peas, carrots, potatoes, some pretty decent sized hunks of beef that is literally just falling apart. That's awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and just get a bite of this thing because I need to get some of this food out of this tray compartment before it spills out. Of course, this is going to be like 1,000,000 degrees as I'm trying to eat it. While that main is cooling down to a much more reasonable temperature, I'm going to get some of this most awesome quince cream out onto some biscuits just so we can get that out of the way. And this stuff, if this is half as good as the quince cream that comes in Spanish rations, this is going to be one happy ration nerd for dinner. Let me tell you what, this stuff, I know it's going to be amazing. Well, I don't know it's going to be amazing. I'm assuming it is going to be amazing. Looks absolutely amazing. And this package of quince cream was just as hard to open up as the apple. I had to employ the knife, but that is okay. I'm pretty happy about it because it survived and it is here to tell the tale. That's all that matters. All right, now that maybe this isn't as hot as the surface of the sun, let's get in here and let's get some of this beef stew. Some carrots, some peas. I'm gonna snatch a piece of this beef. All right, take a look at that. Looks pretty good to me. Going in for a bite. The flavor on that's very mild. I want to say that some of that flavor has probably been soaked up by the fact that I put, well, a can of plain rice in it. But that's okay. It definitely bulks the meal out. Kind of feel like I should have left them separate and maybe added the rice afterwards, but it just made the most sense to heat them up together because everything is heated up nice and evenly. And I know for a fact if I would have tried to heat that rice up in the can, I just would have made a big can-shaped piece of burnt rice. It's definitely a tomato-based sauce. It's actually really good. Very mild flavor. Nothing really stands out. Quite frankly, it could use some more salt. One thing I can say is that rice is pretty much al dente. Maybe a little softer than al dente, but absolutely not mushy and overcooked like I thought it was going to be coming out of a can. The texture of the rice is actually pretty decent. It really surprises me. I thought it was going to be overly hard or overly cooked, but it's pretty much just right. That's really not bad. Not bad at all. That really is. Very mild and easy to eat. Not any crazy, shocking flavors. Just a very natural taste. The vegetables all have their own flavor, which is pretty nice. The beef, it's a decent quality. I wouldn't say this is, grade A prime cut or anything, but it certainly is a decent quality beef. And there's a few decent sized pieces in there. It's not just like beef in the sense that a piece of beef was waved over it during the cooking process. There's actually some meat in here. I'll tell you what, this is going to be a really filling meal. This is nice. I probably just should have eaten this right out of my pan because this is totally making a mess. And this is really down-to-earth food. I mean, it's kind of crazy. My Americanized self, I thought I was going to get into something absolutely crazy in this ration from Mozambique. But this is all just very normal comfort food. There's nothing crazy about this at all. Very mild flavors, easy to eat, kind of like home-cooked stuff. The only thing I can say, it's a little lacking on the spice department. I would have definitely liked it if it was more seasoned than it really is. But I guess that'll keep it from being overly seasoned for one person and under-seasoned for another. Well, I guess it's not going to stop that under-seasoning part, but it won't be overly seasoned for anybody's taste buds. Definitely recommend saving the salt and pepper for the beef stew, especially if you're going to stick the rice in it, like this guy did. The one thing that is nice is this beef is not at all processed, which is great, and it doesn't have any of that weird processed meat flavor. This has absolutely none of that. You can absolutely see this is real beef. Like I said, this isn't like grade A, filet mignon in here or anything, but what it is real, and it doesn't have any processed taste to it. My only real gripe would be that it's just not heavily seasoned. I was kind of hoping more for a cultural experience, but what I did get was a whole ration full of really good edible food. So that's pretty amazeballs. I'm sure with the way that the biscuits were packaged, that they would have a very finite lifespan. But there are other rations out there that have the exact same problem. But these canned food items, pretty much good, perpetually. Not really sure how long these jams would actually last, but let me tell you what, that packaging is really stout. The plastic that they use to package these creams is very strong. The way that they're sealed is pretty crazy. You gotta cut it open, you can't even peel it off. So I got to imagine that jam would probably outlive its best by date. So this entire thing is a hit as far as I'm concerned. One thing I really like about this stew, it has a really nice fat content without leaving any kind of greasy, strange film on the inside of your mouth. This is really like home-style food, which is, that's exactly what a soldier or maybe police officer that's on extended patrol or something, that's what you really want. You don't want a bag of some food-like item or something that is really hard to eat because it just doesn't taste good. This ration kind of knocked it out of the park as far as everything being good, being edible, just tasting really nice. Like I said, there was nothing crazy, except for the Jimmy hat. There was nothing crazy in this ration, but it certainly was a whole bunch of good edible food. I think that we, here, Americans, have something to learn from a ration that's put together like this. I see no reason why we couldn't do this for our soldiers. As much as I'm looking forward to those crackers with quince cream, that main was great. Let me clean this palate before I get onto those crackers. I'm not a huge lemonade fan, but that's pretty good, especially considering it's an isotonic beverage. I'm kind of on the fence about lemonade, and even I like that after I've added the pack of sugar. We're going to check out this quince cream on a biscuit. That's nice and thick. It's probably going to be absolutely amazing. I'm going to stuff it in my face hole. Now, I might be biased because I really like quince cream, but that amount of quince cream on this biscuit completely negated the fact that this biscuit is slightly stale. Absolutely couldn't tell. The quince cream is off the hook. Quince cream, to me, kind of tastes like a mixture of apricots and plums and maybe just a tiny little bit of apple kind of mixed in there. This is a really rich but not overly sweet fruit cream, and that quince flavor is absolutely out of this world. If you've not had quince cream, you should grab yourself a Spanish ration that has quince cream in it. That'd probably be the easiest way to get your hands on one. What an absolute treat. The quince cream is a top-notch ration item as far as I'm concerned. Your mileage may vary, but I'm telling you what, if you've got taste buds, you will very likely like this quince cream. It's absolutely amazing, and I'm going to shut it up and stuff it in my big face hole. So now that we've cleaned our palate up by killing that lemon drink, we're going to try a piece of this gum. Gum's kind of one of those things that doesn't need to be tried with every single ration, but this is a new brand to me. That's a pretty large chiclet of gum. And that's really interesting. That really large chiclet is not hollow at all. It's a solid piece of gum. It starts out with a mild fruity flavor, and then just moves into a really soft, mild peppermint. A little firm on the chew, but really nice. That's actually really awesome. So we should probably clean up our funky digits with this hand sanitizer, because it is the last thing in the ration we didn't try. Except for the Jimmy hat. We're not trying the Jimmy hat. And that, whoo, that's very, it smells like alcohol and fruit. So it's very interesting. It actually smells much better after it's dried a little bit. You don't get that alcohol right up your nose. That was nice. Well, everybody, this has been a 24-hour police ration from the Republic of Mozambique. I just want to take a second to thank the fine gentleman that sent this ration over to me. This was absolutely awesome. You know who you are. You rock out. That was amazing. And thanks, guys, for joining me here today on Ration Nerd. If you appreciate what I'm doing here with the channel, do me a big favor. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Talk to me in the chat if you are so inclined. It is always good to hear from you guys. If you find something better than this unique ration to eat, you guys know what to do. Totally know what to do. Eat them up. I'll be singing my outro. I'll be singing my way out this bitch.